sometimes they will put money there as small as just 5 cents just to test your trust and your integrity.
Mr. Shivute brings a wealth of 27 years of experience in various strategic sectors, both in Namibia, and Sir works on the global arena, because we always say it, you can think locally, but you also have to expand yourself global as well, and how you fit into that. So I'm really, really excited to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sibo. I'm very excited to be here, but at the same time, very humbled to be in your studio today.
Now, when you hear those accolades being said back to you, what you've managed to accomplish, how does that sit with you?
Well, it's humbling, and one always have to be grounded and know that the best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. Before we get to the best, I want for you to take us back just a little bit about your childhood and how your childhood has shaped the man that you are today.
Yes. Well, I was born at Olunkono village. It's a very small village just close to Andangwa Airport. That's where I grew up. And growing up at Olunkono village, my lifestyle was like that of a typical village boy. I remember when I turned 7 years old, my mother had goats, but they were not at home by that time. But when I turned 7, she ensured that those goats comes home so that I take care of those goats. So, and that was also the same year, 1982, that I started school. So I was taking care of these goats. And of course, December, I will then go to Onganjera to go to the cattle post of my father. So, but I'm referring to this story of the goats because there were a number of lessons that I have learned as a result of taking care of those goats. But I did that for about 6 years. And at the age of 13, I already had to find a job. At the age of 13, I was working for Dr. Johannes Jacob Smith in Ondangwa after school. So, and since the age of 13, I'm here to tell you that I never stopped working.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like even before, like officially work for you was when you were, a shepherd with your mother's goats. And being in that environment, what was your biggest dream growing up?
Well, my biggest dream, again, whilst I was growing up at Olunkono village, one of the gifts that my mother gave me is a gift of self-confidence, assuring me to believe in myself, and also knowing that because we came from a very less privileged family background, by that time in our family, among my siblings, no one have even completed grade 12, she assured me that I have what it takes to become or to break the poverty cycle within the family. And I knew growing up that I wanted to be someone who could make a contribution. I did not growing up saying, I would want to become a teacher or a doctor, because at our village there was no teacher, there was no lawyer, there was no nurse, there was no engineer. Yeah. So yes, and as a result of that, I grew up knowing that if I take my education very serious, if I stay grounded, disciplined, there is no way I'm going to be someone who should be in a position to make a contribution and to be of service to others.
That is so fascinating. The power of a mother to instill such a lesson in us. I mean, we're celebrating Mother's Day. That's coming up on Sunday. So knowing that you had that confidence to make it because of what was imparted on you. Speaking of mothers, Whitney Houston saying, "I'm your baby tonight." We're going to quickly just pivot there for just a little bit, and we will touch base again to talk to Mr. Shivute about what really motivates him, the influences that he's had along the way, and the life lessons, because I really want to touch back on the lessons that he learned earlier on when he was taking care of his mother's goats. 99 FM, it's Whitney Houston saying, "I'm your baby tonight." If you've just joined us, I am speaking to transformational coach, Mr. Sam Shivute. He is currently the CEO, the commissioner of Namibia Revenue Agency. And I was just chit-chatting to him off air about how he started working when he was just 13 years old, and how he actually worked through putting himself where he is right now, because the mom could not afford to take him through school. So he was such a a driven force, even from such an early age. And I was even asking him off air, do you not want to retire early, seeing as you started so early? And it's not something that he wants to do anytime soon. So what does keep you motivated on a daily basis? Because you've been working all of your life, really.
Well, what keeps me motivated, I'm a firm believer of the fact that self-motivation is the best motivation. So, but what motivates me is just that act of service, knowing that I'm waking up, working out on myself, but also I'm going to be of service. I want to make a difference. I want to serve, not only serving my family, but serving my country. And that is really what keeps me motivated. But also to seek act of kindness and leaders who are there to serve others, to save the greater cause than just themselves and so on. Those are some of the things that really motivate me. But service, kindness, and just be of service, that motivates me.
No, it's a beautiful virtue to have. You know, it's so easy for anybody who does not come from an advantaged background to play the victim card and to say, oh, woe wish me, I didn't have, my parents didn't have, and growing up in a situation where your parents didn't have, but you managed to get yourself where you are right now. What would you say to a young person who needs that leg up to pull themselves up from the bootstrap?
Thank you, Sebo. But let me just build on again on the question about what motivates me. I also get motivated by positive-minded people like yourself. I like your positive energy. It's one of the best. But you make a point to say that I got myself where I am. I don't believe in that concept of someone getting yourself where you are. I always tell people that I am what I am and what I'm becoming. I owe what I am and what I'm becoming to my mother. But I must also tell you that along the way, there have been a lot of giants that I have climbed on their shoulders, some teachers, some mentors, some leaders. Yeah. So it will be very selfish of me if I would ever claim that I'm where I am because of myself. Of course, there is grace, there is God, but a lot of people, my mother, teachers, leaders, and yes, a lot of people who have contributed, and colleagues as well.
I want to pivot back to the life lessons that you learned earlier on when you were young, because those life lessons really help us be the people that we are in our adulthood. When you were taking care of the goats, what are some top 3 lessons that you can share with us? Like this is what I learned that I still carry with me to this day.
Okay, because again, as I said, at the age of 7, my mother already gave me the responsibility of taking care of her goats. That instilled in me an act of service and also the work ethics as well. So the work ethics, that was one. But I would also remember when I was growing up as well, most of the time I would sleep in my grandmother's room. And she also entrusted me with her pension money, and I took very good care of her money. Then what happened is that when my mother heard that I secured to get a job working for Dr. Johannes Jacob Smith, working in his house, one of the advice that my mom told me, she said that, look, when you go and work in this man's house, there will be some time where you may find a 5 cent on the floor. Don't think that 5 cent is just dropped there. Sometimes they will put money there as small as just 5 cent just to test your trust and your integrity. So don't touch that which is not yours. So that was also one of the lessons. And as a result of that, I have gone on to work with huge amount of money. I ended up working as an assistant taxi driver. I was responsible for money. When I was in the police as a detective, I was responsible for investigation of commercial crime and investigation of crime. When I worked at the central bank, I was responsible for the printing of the entire currency stock to ensure that there is sufficient stock of currency for Namibia. So I worked with billions. And now where I'm working as well now is collection of revenue for the state. So, but I have worked with a lot of money, a lot of billions, but I was always told at a younger age that you don't touch that which is not yours, not even a 5 cent, because once you lose the trust, you will never gain it anymore.
And there's such a great lesson in that, because trustworthiness speaks to your reputation as a person.
Yes. So there is an issue of trust, the issue of not touching what is not yours. There is an issue of work ethics, really knowing that what you do, what you put in, that will determine the output. Also kind of like inspired by what they call the third law of motions, that they say, where they are saying that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So the more if you give, you get. If you work, you get rewarded. Then of course the issue of our self-confidence, believing in yourself and knowing that your circumstances, where you grow up, the family way in which we are born, does not really determine where you're going to be in the future. Knowing that you are the architecture of your life.
True.
Yes.
You know, you mentioned earlier that when you were growing up, and when I asked you what was your biggest dream, you said there was nothing like that. It was, no, I want to be a teacher. All you knew was you wanted to be successful and to make a difference in the world. And you've worn so many hats, sir. So what is any career advice that you would like to share with our listeners?
Yes. And just before I close off by giving those three, I want to share only three. But, you know, in life we need to understand and to believe not only we must believe in God, but we must also believe in the power of the universe and in the mind power, knowing very well these things, some time of boxing people, you must become a lawyer, you must become an engineer. You lose out. If I would have grown up wishing only to become, let's say, maybe a lawyer or whatever, most of this responsibility I ended up having, be it with the United Nations. I worked for UN. I worked as a detective. I worked as a banker. All this, I would have limited myself. Now, the three lessons that I would want to share with our listeners this morning, and I'm very happy and very humbled to be here. Lesson number one is really, I always, when I do transformational coaching, the first assignment I give to my client is to help them or to challenge them to develop a deep sense of self-awareness. In the Bible, you are told, know thyself.
Yes.
Because you need to know yourself. The second one, and I want later, just before I conclude, so that I can unpack those a little bit. So know yourself. That's one. Number two, as professionals, one of the career advice that I want to give is to say they must develop what is called or build performance currency. Performance currency, this is a goodwill or a reputation that you build as a result of the work that you do. So at the work, the way you do your work, the way you execute, you deliver, the way you are known at work, your performance currency is that which distinguishes you from other employees, because they know that, look, if we give Sibo this assignment, she deliver. Not only does she deliver, she exceeds the expectation. She do more than what is expected, and she expects nothing more. She don't complain. She's positive-minded. So the second one is really to build performance currency. It's a big concept that is I once learned from Clara Harris, and she have a wonderful book, Strategizing to Win, and in my book club, the Unlimited Book Club, we also unpack that book. But it's a powerful concept that if you want to be successful in your career, you need to know how to manage your career agenda, but performance currency, big time. Yes. Then, of course, the third one is that which you always know, investing in yourself.
Yes.
Warren Buffett always advises us that you got to invest in yourself. You need to continuously work on you. You need to take charge of your life, both personally and professional, continuously investing in yourself, knowing that you never arrive, and the moment you think you have arrived, just know that the end is near. And I just wanted to underscore, Sibo, on this concept of investing in yourself, continuously learning, believing that the best is yet to come. I was listening to one of the very inspiring gentlemen. He's from the state. His name is Andre Deshid. Now, Andre Deshid is one of the expert. I mean, it's a musical performer, but he's really a wise man. And he once said that when you climb the mountain, and I'm speaking about the mountain because I love climbing mountains.
Okay.
When you climb a mountain and you get on top of that mountain, just know that on top of that mountain, you are also at the bottom of the next mountain. Wow. So keep climbing, keep growing, and keep working on yourself.
Yeah. Thank you so
And be
much.
unlimited, of course.
Be
definitely.
unlimited.
Be
I
unlimited.
think that's the word.
Be unlimited
of the show.
be unlimited. And Sibo, I never close any of the interview without sharing Lester Revenson, the founder of the Sedona method, when he say we are unlimited beings,
Yes.
limited only by the concept of limitation that we place in our minds. So be unlimited.
Be unlimited indeed. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. I can talk to you for hours on end. Matter of fact, we should make a podcast to just pour your wisdom. But thank goodness that you're a transformational coach. Whoever needs to hear from your wisdom, you are more than available. That was transformational coach, Mr. Sam Shivute, the man of service.